Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been a little while, but I've got a very special guest today, Ink Master star, dear friend, super casual, laid back guy. You know him, you love him. His name is Robbie Ripoll. Hey buddy, how you doing, man?
How you doing, brother? Good to be here.
Yeah, I know we've been trying to get this together for months and months and months, and the schedules just haven't worked out. And you just randomly shot a date at me just yesterday, and I was like, "Fuck yes, we're gonna make this happen." So I'm excited, man. I've been looking forward to this for a very long time.
Me too, man. Me too. Yeah. I have people that schedule things in my life for me. So like you came to me, which is the wrong thing to do if you want to do things right. So I had space today and I was like, oh shit, let's give Mark that space tomorrow. Let's get it done. But I'm very on the fly when it comes to figuring out how to live my life. So I'm glad we could make this work, man. I've been excited to do it, and I'm just the worst at scheduling. It's not one of my gigs, but here we are. So thanks for having me, man. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So, anyways, just let's give the kids a little bit of a background here, give these guys an idea where you are, a little bit of your history when you started tattooing, where you're at now, a little bits like that here, and then we'll just we'll ad lib and we'll move along and talk about whatever.
Yeah. So started my informal apprenticeship at 12 years old under my dad. I had been bugging him for quite a few years. Dad, teach me. So he started giving me weird jobs like getting a broom bristle and poking out the insides of a piercing needle and then re-sterilizing those. This is back in the 90s type shit. So, it was a different life back then. I would break off the old needles off the needle bar and make new needles, put them on the new needle bar. So I was just doing odd jobs that my dad didn't want to do or just kind of created for me in the studio because I would leave him alone if he gave me jobs. So it was about 16 by the time I was a professional tattooer. And then, things just kind of went off from there. So, here I am, 43 years old. I've been on Ink Master. I've gone to many, many conventions. I've done cool shit with Ink Mag. I've done cool shit with other publications and news outlets. I've been around the place a lot. And I found myself at this point in my life really diving more into the mental wellness of the man, the tattooer, and that's led me to just the human being. Because, it started for, let's work on mental wellness with, tattooers. And then it's like, well, dudes don't cry enough. And then somewhere in the line of just putting out my content, I've gotten lots of moms, lots of aunts, lots of uncles, lots of everybody that are just like, man, that shit that you're saying really hits. So I try not to target my mental wellness to anyone. I try to specifically hit the ones that need it the most, but don't make it not accessible. Like I love men's groups. I think that stuff is really powerful, but also I want to create people's groups. So that way people will know that they can come to me and my concepts that aren't even mine a lot of the time, man. Like digging into mental wellness, it's just, for me, it was finding stuff that worked for me, but then throwing fucks in there and making the people that think like me and speak like me feel connected to the content that I'm recycling, repurposing, and redistributing for just the people that fucking need it. So I'm here to save the world. I'm here to help the world become a better place. I'm here to change the world. And I started in the tattoo world because that's what I know the most. And so now it's just, hey man, let's all fucking heal together. Let's all access our emotions. Let's all do our best to be our best. And that's the path I'm on now. So that's a brief synopsis.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like, okay, so when I first met you, I was like instantly, your kindness, you're just this God, big cuddly teddy bear. Like you are one of the friendliest, kindest, most gentle, compassionate people I know in the business. And I caught that from like minute one of meeting you. And I was like, wow, like, cause that's kind of like, it's a little opposite of me. Like I consider myself to be a good dude, but to be honest with you, I also, having to be who I am in the world, and you got to keep a persona up, which is where some of the mental health kind of cracks is, you got to be that hard guy. You got to be the tough guy. You got to be that leader. You got to be that whatever all the time. And I was like, wow, here's a dude that's, not afraid to be vulnerable. And that's just impressed me, since day one, man. So I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. It suits you so damn well. It's just, it's amazing, man. I just, your posts, your group, everything that you do, I find inspirational. And I'm not just trying to suck up here, man. I love you as a human being. So
I really appreciate that.
I want to better myself. And that's kind of what it's all about, I guess.
Well, and that's where it came from, right? Like, I saw other people that made me want to be better myself. So I'm like, how do I emulate that? So, it's funny. So a couple things that popped in my head. You said about being a leader, the persona, the brand image management, right? Tattooing's a tough place. It's a scary place. And it's a scary place because most of us are scared. And it's a tough place because we're scared, so we have to be tough. None of us were really the cool kids in school. I wasn't. I've always been the fat kid that people could make fun of, and I realized that I could use my wit and a little bit of anger and bite in my words to get people to stop fucking with me. And then I realized, oh well, now I could just be mean and win. And nobody can hurt me. So that was my winning side, was no one hurting me. Well, then, fast forward to going to the tattoo conventions, that was in my small town vibe, right? Go to the tattoo conventions, you can't be this mean guy, right? There's so many meaner guys out there, like it's like what prison looks like on TV, like you got to fucking, fucking shoulders back, to fucking chest it up. And it's like, well, why don't I just be nice to everybody and make friends here? So all I wanted being the scared fat kid growing up was friends and people who like me. And I realized I was different because I had a lot of love to give. And, having a big 6'4" scary Cuban dad, being the youngest of two brothers, love wasn't the thing they wanted from me. So, I had a lot of pushback on giving love there. But then I always went back to this love thing, man. And I realized when you give love, you get love in return, right? And then I realized that's actually a strategy for some people. For me, I just was like, man, I just want to be nice. And I want people to feel the way I want to feel. And so like I went out into the tattoo world just giving love and giving kindness because that's what I wanted. And if I gave that, you catch more bees with honey than you do with shit. So if I walked around with a shit attitude, and don't get me wrong, dog, I had a shit attitude every convention I went to. Like for days and weeks leading up, I'm like, fuck this thing. I don't want to go to this place. Too many people, too many eyeballs. They're going to be looking at me. Everybody's going to make fun of me. And so instead of like leading into that, I would come with all those worries and all those stresses, but make it till I made it. Smile, and you walk in the room and you're smiling. And remember, everybody else that feels like you have fucking insecurities and doubts when you walk into the room. He does, she does, they do, everybody does. So you walk into this big soup of insecurity, and instead of getting more insecure, you just be nice. But see, the secret to that is I would get drunk a lot of the time, and then my fucking bad parts would come out. So then at the end of the night, I'm crying or I'm yelling at people or I'm telling people, leave me the fuck alone because you're just going to leave me anyway. I should just do this myself. So, behind all these smiles and positive vulnerability was this really tortured man that fucked up a lot. And I drank a lot. And that drinking was to make me comfortable in these rooms. Well, now I am on I don't want to say fully sober journey because I think weed's cool and I think drinks are fun. So as long as I smoke weed in the right times and drink drinks in the right times, then I'm not leaning on those to be my everything. But I went 6 months without drinking to prove to myself that I could make it through. And I went through hard shit, man. I went through everything I would use drinking to make it through. I didn't drink. So I'm like, woo, I can do that. So now drinking is only for celebration. Drinking isn't for pain. It isn't for stress. It isn't for fear, because when I'd go to conventions and I'd drink my head off, all that stress, fear, and pain would come out on others. I'd have to apologize and all that shit. So it's really funny hearing guys that I know for so long that had the positive view on me, even though I was like really fucking scared and cranky. So
you just described like probably 2/3 of the male population in our industry, without a doubt. I mean, like just your quick description there, like I can relate to like just about all of it. It's real.
Right. And that's what I've noticed with the content I put out with the rad movement and the motivational stuff. People just like it because it's real, man. Like I talk about the time that I put a gun to a girl's head because I caught her cheating on me with a guy with one leg way before I lost my leg, and like I didn't pull the trigger because it was in front of my son's bedroom, and I could imagine myself cleaning up brains right after he got off the bus, like, or having him watch me go to prison because I just murdered somebody over something stupid like like somebody cheating on you, So, man, I've been through some really dark shit, and I think that's what it is. I like to share all of it because at first I tried to share this like squeaky clean motivational thing, and Robbie's never been squeaky clean. So I just like being like, hey, man, I fucked up with this. I fucked around and really found out there, and I think that's that's a part of my magic, right? Like we all have magic, but part of my magic is that ability to be vulnerable, honest with myself, therefore honest with others, and then make others feel at ease and not being alone,
Well, I mean, it makes sense because like, you're not gonna understand the whole story unless you read the whole damn book. Other than that, you're giving things out of context, and there's a huge problem in the world today with people taking things out of context, getting sound bites, getting clips, getting whatever, and they get a part of the story and they think they know everything, and that doesn't work. So, right. Yeah, one more thing to admire about you, just being honest, even with the worst.
I really appreciate that, man, and it's been a really weird journey. Like, I think now it's finally to the point where I don't have a lot of like physical discomfort when I share the hard parts of my story. And a lot of that came from fear of judgment. I know how I would judge someone if they told me, I almost murdered a chick fucking cheating on me with a guy with one leg. I would find compassion and grace there, but that initial be like, oh, you're scary, dog. Yeah, the fuck I am scary, and I hate how scary I am. And so I think part of debunking the fears that you could have of me and shouldn't have of me is talking about why I was scary, why I can be scary, why I'm scared of myself, and the best part, what I've done to make myself not be as scary to myself and others. Because that's the most important part to me. I don't want to be scary, not just because I don't want to make you feel bad, but because I don't want to feel bad for knowing that like my truth is terrifying. Because like being a big dude, I can be terrifying. All I got to do is turn it on. So like, I don't want to walk around in that the way my big scary dad did, because he had to be scary. In his mind, in his world, he was a Cuban refugee. And when he came here, he was a poor fat kid who, he had almost threw a kid out of the fucking school bus window because he threw the pen out of his pocket. And nobody knew how hard his grandfather worked to get that pen for my dad, because they were broke as fuck. So now, like, the gift that my great grandfather gives to my dad, this kid throws it out the window. So my dad wants to throw the kid out the window. And that's the pain I grew up with, because my dad never really worked through that shit. He just used that tough guy shit, like that's how he survived. And I don't want to survive. I want to truly thrive. And how do you thrive? Dig into your pain, pay attention to it, sit down with it, pour it a cup of tea, ask it why it's so there and so upset, and then figure out how to work through it. And that's the shit that I hate because I have to do it.
Well,
but I hate myself.
Okay? That monster is in everybody. Nobody out there is above that. And I mean, I have a tendency to, run my mouth, and I get terrified sometimes by the thoughts or even the words that come out of my mouth in certain situations where, like, it can be terrifying to know what you're capable of, and not always easy to control. It's just we do our best, but fuck, it's hard at times.
It really is, man. I'm facing some really heavy shit in my life right now. I've got a fucking stalker coming after me. Having issues with my son and my oldest not getting along. That's really hard stuff. I've always had the problems with my middle brother, the one I went on Ink Master with. That's hard stuff, man. I had fucking issues with my neighbor, not understanding, you don't blur the lines of boundaries in my physical life just because you're my neighbor. And I've popped off a couple times and been scared of myself. And it's like, look, man, this isn't who you are, and so being a motivator, I think I'm supposed to be perfect. And I think the reason why I'm motivational is because I always keep a smile on. And in these hard moments, I learn a lot about myself. I learned that you're not a motivator because you're perfect. You're a motivator because you live life to the best of your abilities, fuck up and recalibrate in front of people. And a lot of us are afraid to fuck up and recalibrate in public.
Right.
I am afraid of that also.
When you say, that's not who you are, I mean, I look at it a little differently. I'm kind of like, when I say those and do those things, that is who I am at that point in time. That is exactly who I am. And that's why my reaction is the way it is, as intense it is. It is not who I want to be. And that is the realization that I don't know, man. It's like you catch yourself on a regular basis doing that. You can beat yourself up, you can tear yourself down. I never really, as far as I know, never struggled with any sort of mental health disorders throughout my whole life until just the last few years or so, with everything that went on in the world. And all of a sudden I found myself in foreign territory, unable to cope with anything. It was like, it was literally like being presented with a foreign language I didn't understand. And that's when I had to start doing a lot of soul searching and research and, talking to some other people and whatnot. And that's kind of one of the points where I first started reaching out to you, because I noticed you were struggling real hard a little while back. And I was like, dude, I feel you on what I see you talking about. I want to just touch base and connect and maybe we can help each other somehow, some way. So I don't know. And then and here it is, months and months and months later, I know I made some progress, but life's not perfect. And you look like things are going a little bit smoother, but it's a constant effort. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, dude, I was just talking to this chef yesterday, and he's opening a brick and mortar, and I was like, owning a business is fun. He's like, I've owned a business for a while. I'm like, when I'm Robbie Ripoll, the tattooer, as a business, that's easy peasy, dog. That's easy, because I only have me and my struggles to worry about, and those are big, right? But now that I'm 4 years into persevering through keeping this brick and mortar together, man, I got to manage myself, and I got to manage myself around people that are trying to manage themselves, and I got to help them manage themselves. And then I got to make sure the quality of work is good. And then I got to make sure the customer service is good. And I got to make sure the back end is good, even though that's not my fucking realm. So then I got to lead a team of people to do the back end the way I need it to be done, and then share my vision with them, and then not get mad at them for not fucking understanding my vision. And so that brick and mortar shit is different.
It's insane. You're not responsible for just yourself. You're responsible for you're responsible for their families. It's a big burden to carry, man. Definitely.
It is. But it's a beautiful thing because, right, I have this guy, Sosa. He just moved here from Cuba 5 months ago. Doesn't even speak fluent English yet. And we've managed to help him get enough clients and enough money to get himself into an apartment. And he's got a line on a car. And he's only been with us maybe 2 months. So, nice. It's so cool to see that happen, especially I'm Cuban. My dad came from Cuba on a legal flight, one of the last ones, out back in that time, and so I'm helping connect to my roots by helping people come here. Dude, I'm looking at him as a guy that's like my dad. You know what I'm saying? Except my dad was 12. So this guy is helping me heal and dive into my ancestry, right? And I'm helping him by not giving up on this brick and mortar. You know, like this brick and mortar has been the easiest thing to give up on. And when you reached out to me, I had probably given up on this place 20 to 30 times in that point. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go private. I'm going to close it down and go private. Well, that's going to save me $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month in the tattoo world isn't going to make you rich or poor. So I'm like, fuck, I can't close this place now because it's not even economically sound, blah, blah, blah. So I kept pushing here. And what happened? We built a new team of great people that want to help the team and themselves so that everybody's thriving here, right? And like, I just keep building pieces of this thriving puzzle. So, wow, cool. I cleared up that problem from when we first talked a while back, right? Now I'm dealing with these other problems with, you know, that the soccer person and this, and it's like, fuck. But what I'm coming to is you can equally have bad and amazing at the same time. And you have to make the choice of where your focus lies. So if your focus lies in all the tough things that are happening to you, you are not actively able to pay attention to the good. So then therefore that good is basically wasted. And you've turned the positive into a negative by multiplying them the wrong way. But if you fucking look at your positives and multiply with the positives, the negatives start to fade away. One, this thing that keeps happening to me. So I believe in synchronicities and I believe in the universe speaking in the ways that it speaks. And social media is a huge part of my life because it's my marketing for my business. So social media speaks to me with universal cues. God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, speaks to me through my phone because that's where I am. Because back in the day, the Bible was written as a book. That's what we used back then to communicate knowledge, right? Well, now social media is how we communicate knowledge. So the knowledge comes faster, but it comes also from this true download place, right? So like for me, I believe in the universe sending me downloads, whatever you want to call it, but you get things that you're supposed to get. And one of the things that keeps popping up is you believe all of these made up scenarios that are bad. But what if you just believe the made up scenarios that were good instead? So instead of getting in the doom loop with thinking, being like, okay, well, this is scary. But what if it works out? What if I find the partner in my dreams? What if my business fucking flourishes? What if I fucking get an angel investor? What if when I fucking turn the rad movement into a nonprofit, it's going to fucking really change fucking people's worlds and lives? What if this concept that fucking Donna came up with of taking old malls over and turning them into fucking like rehabilitation camps for people that need it could be a real thing? You know, like, what if I change the fucking world instead of what if I can't?
It's simply a matter of perspective, right? I mean, it's everybody views the same situation slightly different. And like, just to go back here to this whole cosmic transmission thing, I don't believe in Jesus Christ. I don't believe in any religion at all. I just my simple belief is it's wiser to believe that they're all wrong rather than to believe that just one is correct. And that's my perspective. Yeah. And I don't care if anybody else is on that train with me at all, because it's not my place to tell other people what to think. But I'm a very spiritual person, and you start talking about the download thing, and I'm like, wow, that relates entirely to like my concept is we are all little antennae. We're little transceivers, okay, to some higher, I don't know,
whatever it is.
Right. So, and as humans, some of us are better at transmitting. Some of us are better at receiving. Some of us are better, master both. And some of us can't do a damn thing. But it's like, that's where the knowledge comes from in my brain is like, and I also believe in like attracts like, so everybody has an energy, and if you can attract similar energies and similar perspectives, life gets a whole lot easier and you can go a whole lot farther together. So I don't know if that's where your perspective is, but that's where my mind is. So I was excited when you started talking about that.
Well, so all right, so we're on the same exact wavelength, I feel. I grew up in church, and Jesus is my homeboy, right? Because here's the thing. Jesus did a lot of good shit on this planet. And if you look at the Bible from a non-objective standpoint, it's a good book, man. Fucking, it's got a lot of good information. Living life good, treating people good, treating yourself good, all that stuff. I'm into that. Where it fucks me up is the indoctrination that the church puts into it, and then the fire and brimstone of this is the way you need to live. Fuck you, I won't do it, you're telling me, is a song that holds deep in my heart for a reason. Killing in the name of.
Yeah, like I love the morals. The moral of the story.
Right. The morals are great.
Bible stories are awesome. The great teachings. I just don't believe that those physical activities took place at any point in time. It's just, to me, it was a way of stories being handed down and down and down and
Absolutely.
down.
They're great parables, great teaching and learning lessons. But here's the thing, dog. I can't fucking say that you're 100% right just because this book says it. Right. So I've explored my faith, my beliefs, my spirituality for years, dude. And the motivational stuff started with spiritual stuff. So I found this whole different way of thinking from a book called The Celestine Prophecy that a guy named Brooklyn Robb, I still don't remember really meeting him in person, but he hit me up on Facebook, and apparently we've had interactions. And he said, "Hey, this book is for you." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" So I read it, and this was before 2012, which is when a lot of my shifting happened. And it opened my eyes up to the spiritual way of thinking that I already was into, right? My dad was a spiritual guy. My mom was more church. My dad was more spiritual. So my dad would bring home like the hippie fucking Native American friends that would talk about Hachamama and like all the, like crystals and all this wild shit, right? And so I'm like, okay, cool. I dig this. I just didn't know, because I didn't know how to access what. And my mom, was in the church. So it was always, church indoctrination. But as I grew up, I realized I'm agnostic. I believe there's something out there. I don't know what it is. And I think similar to what you said, like, I'd rather believe all of them are wrong and one of them are strictly right. I'd rather believe that all of them have some redeeming qualities, but I don't have to live exactly by one of them. Because let's say heaven is a real thing, right? Well, Buddhists don't get to go to heaven. They're some of the most peaceful people on the fucking planet. You know what I'm saying? Like, Buddhists taught me how to stop killing bugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like killing bugs. And it's not because I chose to not. It just started feeling icky. And now I have an agreement with bugs. Look here, Playboy. If you come in my screen porch and if you come in my home or my business, it's on. But otherwise, we're pals, bro. Like, I don't want to kill you for no fucking reason. This dreadlock is the blue dreadlock on purpose to feel like my Avatar tail from the Avatar movies, because they plug their fucking tails into the fucking animals and into the fucking trees and into the earth. And it fucking makes them actually be able to connect. And I surely believe, this is my spiritual religious beliefs, right? I surely believe we are all one. We came from fucking stardust, dog. Like, I don't care if you believe Jesus created this shit, that's fine. But at the end of the day, like, the planets did show up somehow. So I believe that the stardust that was floating around out there is where we all fucking like moleculed together and we compounded and created this planet from stardust. Then the stardust fucking created beings, whether it was from the water that was put on our planet or the fucking food and nutrients that were put on the planet. I don't care. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I do believe that spirituality and science are one, because we are all one and we all came from the same shit and we all are the same fucking shit. So if you look at the egg theory, which is a very simple theory, you are me, I am you. If I'm bad to you, I'm bad to me. If I'm good to you, I'm good to me, because we are exactly the same person. In my timeline, you are me. You're just a different projection of me. And I am you, just a different projection of you. So we have to treat each other the way that we would treat us. But the way we've now been confused and indoctrinated in society, we don't be good to ourselves. We don't be good to each other. And the only way I get up is to bring you down. And I feel like we're in this period of life that is what is going on. So going back to my religious beliefs, my spiritual beliefs, I'm agnostic. I believe there's something out there. And I believe we all came from the same thing. And I believe we're all one. And I had a strange message sent to me from my oldest brother yesterday, really tying into being all one. And I battled if I should share this on the pod today, but I am. So I told you before the pod, I ate some edibles with friends of mine that I was tattooing yesterday. Man, they had the most fucking delayed effect I've ever had with edibles, right? So before they really took hold and made me like fucked up and I had to like take a break from life, my oldest brother, who I've been beefing with because he overcrossed some boundaries I asked him not to overcross. And he keeps overcrossing these boundaries, and boundaries are related around my middle brother. And he always wants to bring us back together. I'm like, I would love that, but what you're doing isn't working, and it's just upsetting us both. So stop it. So that was our last fight, and that's why I stopped talking to him, because I couldn't handle having him push this narrative, right? So, and all these stories combined in a minute, so you'll understand in a minute. So I had a hard morning yesterday. You know how sometimes just life is hard, right? And you just have a hard time getting out of your own way. And one of my best friends and his wife I tattooed yesterday. And I forgot how much progress we made on her thigh. So I was like, fuck, man, we're not going to make any progress on her tattoo. And I don't even know we're tattooing on him. So, I'm getting in my head and I'm getting funky. And I do this before I'm about to go into a tattoo session where some heavy emotional healing is going to happen, but I don't know it. I didn't know we were going to have a heavy emotional healing day, right? So I work on his wife first, and that was a light emotional healing time. Me and her chopped it up. It was great. We caught up. She made fun of me because I used to be mean. And now I'm like more mindful about how I treat people. And she was one of my targets because she wouldn't let him be an idiot with me all the time. And now I understand he needed somebody to not let him be an idiot. So like I said, all these little things are coming into all the chess pieces, right? Then I tattooed him towards the end of the night. But before I tattooed him, I'm like, let me get another one of those gummies. That first one hours ago didn't do shit. So I ate the fucking gummy. I fucking tattoo his throat. Bro, it's beautiful. He's fucking crying almost nonstop for a period there. So much that I feel emotions coming on, and I'm like, ugh. And then I had to talk to myself. I'm like, no, this is about him, not you. Don't take the spotlight. Let him cry. Because I didn't want to like spook him. Because if I start crying, I didn't want him to start feeling responsible and like stop crying, right? So I let him just blow it out, man. So 2 different times I felt my emotions coming. Like, I remember one point in time, his wife comes in the room, I'm like, we're just doing some work here, and I got tears on my face. And so like, it was really cool, right? And in this period of time, my oldest brother sends me this voice message. Now, I finished the tattoos, we go ahead and we set up, we break everything down. They drive me home because Donna had to leave to go relieve the babysitter. So the night went longer, and I'm fighting myself. I don't want this night to go long. I want to be home and relieve the babysitter with Donna because I shouldn't work too much. And I'm putting all these limitations in my life that I shouldn't, because I have this beautiful wife, this beautiful child, this beautiful fucking support system that if I have to fucking help my homie, well, then that's what the job is tonight, right? And you fight the job sometimes. So I fought the job, and then the fucking edible. So I get home, I make myself a quick meal, I eat my meal, I sit on the couch, the edible, right? Like 2 to 3 hours after I ate the second one, 5 or so hours after I ate the first. I've never had edibles take this long to ruin my night, but it wasn't ruined. Like it was just, and it was already Donna's night to put the baby to bed. So I was like, cool, because we like to trade off. So I was like, cool. I was probably just going to chill and kind of try and decompress. I can't even move right now, so I'm forced to decompress. I'm laying on the couch, and it's weird, and then it hits. It's like, you're going to have to throw up, dude. And then I felt the pale come over me, and I felt the cold sweats, and I'm like, you have to walk to the bathroom because you can't throw up here on the couch, because then you're going to have to clean that up later, and that's going to suck. The walk to the bathroom is going to hurt less. So when I get in these stages where I'm like so fucked up on edibles, but like I know, okay, I went from like, why is this happening to me? Because I know it happened because, well, I underestimated these edibles. And Donna laughs at me. She's like, it always starts that way. You're always like, that first edible wasn't shit. I always say that. So I hit the second one. So I'm like, all right, let me go. And at this point in time, now I'm full into receiving mode. All right. Now I'm in the spirituality world. I'm like, all right, this isn't why this happened to me, because I ate too many edibles. That's why this is happening. What is happening? What should I be learning here? What's happening? And all of a sudden I was like, oh, you've got to let this anger out. Now, I've been getting a lot of reminders that I shouldn't be angry the way I am. Because anger's hard, man, but it's my default. If I'm scared, I'm angry. If I'm mad, I'm angry. If I'm fucking confused, I'm angry. Anger is just the easiest thing. And if you pay attention to the Inside Out movies, the mom's brain was ran by sadness, the dad's brain was ran by anger. So I think it's a natural male thing to just use anger because, like, if there's a fucking tiger trying to eat your family, anger is going to scare them off, right? So, like, I scare all the tigers out of my life with anger. But sometimes the tigers are done triggering me to something I need to fix, so I can't use anger, you know? So I'm feeling this anger. I'm like, and I had an experience like this before, and I remember every time I said, all right, just surrender, I would vomit. And so I was like, okay, well, let me surrender. And it's like, oh, you got to let that anger out. So I vomited a couple of really good times. And I related that to my anger. And I let the anger come out. And I let the anger come out. And I let the anger come out. And then I realized, oh shit, anger doesn't serve me. I should stop going there. And if I want to not have to vomit this anger out physically in the future, I need to let this anger out. Now, that fucking text message my brother sent me, it was an audio message. And I didn't have the bandwidth to listen. So I went and fucking read the transcribed version. And I'm glad I did because it transcribed his words wrong. So it made me think a little more. So I couldn't initially get, fuck, you don't tell me what to do. And it was, hey, give our brother love. I know you guys aren't getting along right now. I know me and you are getting along right now. Give our brother love. Like, you motherfucker, don't you tell me this. You know, like, don't you tell me to do the thing I know I need to be doing. I'm fucking battling with removing anger right now, bitch, and you tell me this? And he doesn't tell me remove anger, Robbie. He just says, please give our brother love. Fuck you for learning how to get into my brain and teach me how to teach myself and being on a proper wavelength with me to fucking help me learn this message and this knowledge I'm supposed to be learning right now through getting too fucked up on edibles. So, dude, I feel like I go on these weird edible trips because, like, I think that's one of my teachers, dog. It's weird.
It may be your way of tuning in and being able to receive, man. It might just be part of it, really. I mean, we all learn differently, right? This as fucked up as it is, it might be the way you learn best. But yeah, I mean, but anger is usually a reaction to fear, and fear is usually caused by ignorance, and all you're doing is trying to educate yourself on yourself, learn more about yourself, your triggers, your emotions, your reactions, your everything. It's like, so yeah, the default is anger, but the anger is based on fear, and the fear is almost always based on ignorance. We see it all day, every day in the media right now. Fear and anger is what they use to create more division, whether it be within ourselves or whether it be around the globe. Yep, that's how it goes.
Dude, 100%. And like, I learn a lot from my baby. I've always learned from my oldest son. But like now, my baby is my biggest teacher right now. And it's weird. I was watching this movie, Trolls Band Together. And the Trolls were a boy band when they were younger and they split up, and then the one troll got kidnapped, so the other trolls have to come together in the perfect family harmony to release the one brother troll from the prison he's in that the people fucking put him in, right? So I'm dealing with all kinds of brother trauma watching this movie. And at one point, the one main troll, he's talking to his girlfriend, and he's like, something like, you're going to leave me like they did. And she's like, I'll never leave you. I love you. And like, you're the best. And I'm always here for you. And Donna said it to me one day. She's like, that's us. And I wasn't ready to hear it. And I was like, rah, 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 like a dad does. And then the other day I was like, that's us. And she's like, yeah, I know. I told you. But it really hit me, dude. Like, I am terrified of getting left by the people that have left me. My brothers.
There's that fear. Fear is
Fear,
the
yeah. Yeah.
biggest fucking motivation on the planet. And as soon as you realize, you got to stop and think about, one, you have to come to the realization that you are afraid of something. And once you come to that realization, you got to figure out what you're actually afraid of. Once you understand what you're really afraid of, it's a little easier to digest the fact that it's most likely a false fear.
Right. And the
reality
hardest part is
always much less painful than the anticipation and fear most of the time, the anxiety that we build into ourselves.
you're absolutely correct. And the hard thing in the middle of that is finding the patience to have patience with yourself to discover what the fear is and how to treat it. And usually, like, the treatment of our fears, put some love on yourself, put some grace on yourself, stop tripping all the time, stop worrying about so much shit. Fucking start imagining what could go right instead of worrying about what could go wrong. Because the fears so we do this thing called the human narrative at the tattoo shop. And our first one was fear. And the human narrative is, it's a speaking event. We started it. My friend Chad, he developed the concept because he was a part of something like this before. And he's like, let's do this at Rat Inc. And he wouldn't tell me over text. He was like, we have to talk in person. I'm like, why are you being so weird? Stop it. I know when you need to do it in person, it's something serious. You're annoying me. Because like, as the preacher story, they're like, God called me to do this and I fought him. Now I know what they mean when they say that, because Chad was that universal download saying, you need to do this. And I'm like, shut up, leave me alone. Just text it to me, asshole. And he's like, no, this needs to be presented in person. I'm like, fuck. And he's a really quiet dude. So we did it really like quiet. He didn't bother me the way I do. He was just like, hey man, I need to meet in person. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll set up a time. And then when I didn't set up time, hey man, when can we set this up? I'm like, fuck. So he made me do this human narrative meeting. Then and it's been developing now. We've been doing it a little over a year. And it's a place where we have a panel of regular speakers and we all speak on one word. The first topic was fear. And my share on fear, I thought it was brilliant because it talked about how fear ran my whole life. My whole fucking life. I wake up with anxiety. What's that? That's fucking fear. That's fear of not accomplishing or not getting the things done or fucking not always falling short or whatever the fucking fears are, right? So for me, I don't have trouble sleeping at night. I have trouble sleeping in the morning. That's when anxiety finds me. Where some people it's at night, right? So yes, fear hits me from the time I wake up. And then, I have a tattoo appointment. Fuck. Well, what's this appointment? Oh my God, am I going to be able to figure it out? Fuck. Am I going to get there on time? Are they going to fucking be mad that I'm late? Fucking, am I going to be able to deliver the quality of the tattoo that I need to fucking deliver in this fucking short period of time that I have in the short date? Like blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, they're paying me $2,500 per day. How am I ever going to fucking create the amount of fucking quality of experience and art that they need to fucking match $2,500 in one day? Bro, I just fucking spent $2,500 on a fucking 4-hour tattoo the other day because he fucking delivered the quality that I needed. But I have a hard time imagining how are they gonna fucking find quality in what I give. So I put all these fears in the way, then I get to the shop and everything's great. We fucking cry, we laugh, we heal, we fucking have the best time ever. I realize that they're my dream client and I attracted to me, and all the work I've been doing is fucking really happening. But fuck, I can scare the shit out of myself. In the meantime,
you accomplish it every single time, right? I mean, how do you fall short of the goal? I don't think you do. So it's a matter of just coming to terms with the fact that almost all fears are irrational. And if you can think of that on a regular basis, it's like we should all get that tattooed on our knuckles. We just need more fingers. But it's like, almost all fears are irrational. Yeah. And if even and the ones that are irrational might be something you have no control over anyways, right? So what are you going to do? You're really going to sit there and make yourself physically ill over it? I know. I do it all the freaking time now. So, but it's like it's one thing to know it, and it's one thing to practice it or recognize it. And like you were saying earlier, like it's unfortunate that we as men, or I should say, we as humans, have to have these big emotional explosions before we can look back on what we did wrong and then learn from it.
Yeah,
It's just.
and I've been there for a while. I've been in that point of like, when am I going to come out of this? But I feel like I'm always in that point. So at the Human Narrative the other night, one of our regular speakers, after it was over, she said, she's like, I could see she was heavy. And I was like, what's going on? And she's like, dude, I just feel like I'm always battling something. I'm like, bitch, thank you. Because I feel the same. And I feel so less than because of it. I am the RAM movement guy. I am the motivational guy. I'm the guy that fucking doesn't kill myself on purpose so I can show you that you don't kill yourself on purpose. You know, I'm the guy that fucking makes, you know, like you said, that is me, the anger, the monster that is me, but that's not who I'm trying to be. I'm the guy that's trying to be the best me. So if I fail at that, who am I? Oh, I'm you. Because you're me. And we're all failing at something, but we're all succeeding at multiple things. You know, and I feel like you said it perfectly. All fears are irrational. AFAI. You know, like it could be a tattoo that we start doing. You know, because like all fears are irrational, man. Like but we live in them. And I'm over here putting on these events, dude. These events have been stopped by people to just scream at me and tell me, Robbie, you need to receive our love and our praise because look at what you do in this world. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? And, you know, like,
Well, you're not doing it for the praise. You're not doing it for notoriety. You're not doing it you're already famous. Nobody gives it to you. It's like you're doing it because you know it's the right thing to do. And you're just trying to help your community heal, man. It's incredible. I love it.
I appreciate that, man. And like that, I've been given so much reassurance that I am doing things for the right reason. And I am on the right path. I've been given so much of that lately that I've been forced to realize it. It doesn't mean that the insecurities don't still be, because you know what, man? If I didn't have those insecurities, I wouldn't have a reason to check myself when I'm wrong.
I was just going to say, we all need to be humbled on a regular basis, man. And then sometimes it's, something simple and sometimes it's something dramatic, but it's something that everybody needs at some point.
Yeah. And so I used to want to kill my emotions, like the anger, the fear, the insecurity, this and that. Now I just like, I want to honor them. And I want to say, hey, thanks for your service, but can you do me a favor? Can you figure out how to serve me at the right times? Because sometimes I feel like when you serve, it may not be the right time and we're not getting the outcome that we all want. Because I know you and I, and I'm speaking of my emotions, you and I want the same outcome. You want safe, happy, healthy, beautiful, strong Robbie. But sometimes we think the only way to do that is to kill everybody in the audience when nobody needs to. So can we do this the right way?
Yeah. Well, and you're achieving that over time. Like we're the current culture where we're conditioned with right now is instant gratification. We want to be, that Robbie today or tomorrow.
Right now, yesterday.
But like we prefer today. But the fact is you don't need to be that Robbie today. You just need to be a better Robbie today than you were yesterday. And then the following day. And then just it's progress, man. You're doing great. Don't be so hard on yourself.
And I appreciate that. And you're right. And so I go between those two places. I go between being too hard on myself and then realizing, no, I am a magical motherfucker. I do help the world in a number of ways. And that's only getting multiplied further from here. Like one of my favorite authors and just mental wellness people, Louise Hay, man, she like started her publishing company, Hay House, in her 50s. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's when she really started making a major impact on the world. And now she's dead, but like between her 50s and dying, she made a major impact on people like me who are never going to forget her. So who's to say that I can't? One of my friends, he's helped me start the Rad Movement nonprofit. he's 50 and he's just now latching on the concept that you get to live how you want to live. And that's like really cool to witness that he can do that at that age. And that means I can do that at this age, means anyone can do anything at any age. We don't have to be mad at ourselves for not being enough right now, because we are enough. And we're learning how to be more and better. And that's one of the demons that I battle with, not enough. Like, not enough is a guy that always fucks with me. But in order to let him live peacefully, I got to let him live sometimes.
He's always there. He's always
there. Right. But you know what? Not enough. We're not putting enough good in the world. I can dig that. Let's do more. But don't hurt me in the process of wanting to do more. We're just going to do more together, buddy. You know, rather than, you're right, we're not doing enough.
Well, we all have limitations, man. So just realize whatever you're putting into it on any given day, man, that's enough. Okay. That's enough for that day. You can maybe do more tomorrow, more next week, but just don't be so hard on yourself for not feeling like you get enough done today, because we all need a little peace once in a while.
Absolutely. And dude, it's weird. Like, I've been exercising a lot more lately. I've been going to a boxing gym, and I've been working with my diet as well. But you know, that never feels like you're doing enough. And yesterday I got a compliment from one of the staff here, and she doesn't see me often because she's more of an administrative side. And she's like, I don't know if this is like rude to say, but I feel like you look like you lost some weight. I'm like, huh. You know, I made a joke out of it, but really, that sat with me well. I was like, dude, that's awesome. Like, because I'm working towards that. Because I'm not working towards having people tell me I look like I'm losing weight. I'm working towards losing weight so I can regulate my health better. So when you tell me I'm losing weight, now my ego gets a little stroke, but then my security gets a little stroke. Oh, Robbie, you're not going to die as fast because you're getting healthier. You know? And that's really important to me at this point in my life, having a 2-year-old at 43, you know, like, fuck, man, I want to be alive for him and for myself and enjoy life. But like, he doesn't have as much time with me because I'm older now. So I want to give him as much time with me as he can get, and as much time I with him as I can get. Because, dude, kids are a beautiful blessing. They're a beautiful gift. And like, I didn't know if I ever wanted to have another kid. And then finally I decided, okay, I could have another kid. And then we had the other kid, and like, man, I'm glad I had the other kid. He's the coolest thing. He teaches me to slow down. He teaches me to nap. He teaches me to love a little more. Because the other night he stressed me out so hard. Me and him were literally screaming at each other. And I'm like, what do you want? And he's like, ah! And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. We're both going through this, you know? But, you know, he taught me something. You know, he taught me, okay, yelling isn't going to get us anywhere. You yell at me, I'm going to yell back. So I was like, okay, let's breathe through this. How do we figure this out? You know, and man, he teaches me all the tools.
Telling me what to do is exactly what he was saying, man.
Yeah, he's me. Like, dude, he jumps off of all the things. He climbs on all the things. And I'm like, and Donna's like, oh my God, he's scary. I'm like, no, he's awesome. He's me. He's scary and crazy and beautiful and rebellious. And that's the cool thing about life, man. We all get to be all those things. We just have to do it in a good, balanced way that we can all live with.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a curse and a blessing that our children turn out to be direct copies of us in different retrospects, man. It's like I said, it's some of it's beautiful, some of it's scary.
Dude, and my oldest son is teaching me, you know, a lot of the other things that about myself, about my young self that I really wasn't a fan of. So I'm like, cool. Now I have to learn how to navigate this in a way that I believe is better than the way my parents navigated it, so I can heal generational curses and be a bigger part of the solution than the problem.
Well,
and that's hard.
Big parts of my childhood are gone. Just either gone, forgotten. Brain cells are dead. It was delusional. Who the hell knows what big chunks are gone? I can see it in my kids as they start to go through stages. That sort of kicks in certain, like, you know, like memories and little. It's like, oh, wow, here I am learning this lesson 50 years too late, 40 years too late. You know, I only could have had that little glimpse or insight back then, man. Life would have been a whole lot easier, but which is awesome because guess what? That means they're getting there before I did. And that's all you can hope for, man, is that they, you know, they can progress a little bit better, a little bit faster than we did.
And if we look at a family tree, right, you know, the roots got planted a long time ago and we don't get flowers yet. So now you're finally experiencing the bloom of the seed that was planted years ago. So now it's like, oh, I learned this lesson 40 or 50 years too late. No, you learned this lesson exactly as it was supposed to come because it was planted, watered, nurtured until this point. And now you've learned the lesson. And that's when it was supposed to happen. And they learned it earlier because that's when it was supposed to happen for them. And hopefully their kids learn it earlier. And then at some point in time, now we just got flowers, you know, like.
Well, I mean, what you just said there just reminded me of one of my absolute favorite quotes. And that is basically it's when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's stuck with me forever. And it's kind of like, okay, I wasn't prepared, I wasn't equipped to learn that up until this point in time. And here it is, my child teaching me. You know, it's beautiful and kind of also like, you know, concerning is like, was I that mentally challenged as a kid that I was not capable or ready at the time?
Well, you know, yes and no, because like if we look at it like that, then that means our parents must be complete fuck ups, which they weren't. They just were doing they were doing the best that they could with what they had at the time.
Right.
And we are trying, if we are the person where we should be, and when I say should, I mean an evolutionary being that just continues to get better. I don't mean should in like you need to be better. If we are the person that we should be, which is growing, right? Everyone needs to evolve. So that just means we evolved further than they did, and our kids are evolving further than we did, faster. And that means we've all done our job in the process. When I was really battling my parents in my heart and in my head, I had a friend who said, if they knew better, they'd do better. Don't tell me that truth, bitch. You know, like, but it's the truth. If they knew better, they'd do better. And I knew better as much as I could at the time, but I would have done better if I knew now what I know then, or knew then what I know now. And now Zen, my youngest baby, he gets the dad that buys him a book that says, you are enough. You know, he gets the dad that, you know, when he's losing his mind, yes, sometimes we have a screaming match, but sometimes I like tell him, all right, man, let's breathe through it. And like when he gets mad at me, I'm like, what do you need? What can I do for you? How can I help you? Rather than fuck you, stop screaming. You know, like, and I still get that way sometimes, but like I do remember, like, hey man, you catch more bees with fucking honey than you do with shit. So don't go throwing shit at your kid when he's already sick and shit. Bring him some honey and see what he needs. And really, if we think about it, it all stems back to childhood trauma. So what did little Robbie? Little Robbie probably needed love. Little Robbie probably needed a hug. Little Robbie probably needed to be understood and seen. So if I learn how to see little Zen right now, maybe he will have less of little Zen that's in pain that needs to be healed when he's big Zen. So that's kind of a part of that whole thing. Like I've done more work with my relationship with my father after he died than I ever did when we were alive. You know, like my dad comes to me in different smells or when I'm on a crazy hallucinogen trip. But like, man, he shows up as a cigar. And that's one part of my life. That's more grown adult or young adult Robbie. When he shows up as a cigarette, that's childhood Robbie. That's big. And then Cuban coffee is just my whole life. So like, these are the different ways my dad shows up. And then when he shows up, I usually ask him questions. And in his true my dad form, he doesn't like loudly answer me, but the answers come. And a lot of the time it's just, I'm here, man. I love you. I needed that shit. My dad didn't say I love you. On his deathbed, me and my mom tried to convince him to say I love you to her. He refused to say it. Kathy, you know I love you was all he would say. So now when he visits me, I get a feeling of love. I get a feeling of grace. I get a feeling of acceptance. I get the attaboys and the pats on the back. I get the fact that my dad loves me so much that he will show up in this present life that I'm in now to help me heal the things that we couldn't heal when he was here on this earth. And that helps me heal the things with my sons while they're here on this earth, so they don't have to fight this battle and go through this journey the way that I'm doing it. I want their journey to be a little bit easier than mine. And if it could be a lot easier, great. But like healing the father journey, ugh. Dude, parent work is ugly. That's a deep shadow work that none of us want to do. And so when I'm dealing with my oldest son and us doing father work, which is gross, you know, one of my mentors says you have to kill the father. That's not pleasant, dog. So he's in the process of killing the father. That hurts, both of us. So I'm accepting that killing the father is a necessary part of this. And I'm glad we're not going to have this much contention that me and my dad did while my dad was alive. And he can kill that relationship with me earlier on. And we can both be men walking into our futures together. So it's
old days left to their old devices. Men are pretty fucking stupid. You know, I mean, think about it. It's that the whole male ego, machismo, whatever you want to call it, or whatever is. There was a time and place for it, you know, when we were more hunter gatherers and needed to just provide and protect. And we still need to do that on a smaller scale. And I think we're growing as a species. It's just not maybe as fast as it should be.
Yeah. And that's why I'm doing the work I'm doing. That's why helping people access their emotions is super important to me. When I was putting together the RAD movement, that was like the mission that I came up with. Like, I want to make healing accessible to everyone. And like, I want to help people access their emotions. And like, accessing emotions is a difficult job and it's a necessary part of healing. You know, and I want us all to learn how to heal our own shit. And I seen a video the other day that it was like, you know, you have a doctor and a pharmacy inside of you that can help you heal everything. So I'm really trying to access my physician and my pharmacy. And, you know, I use Western medicine. I use Eastern medicine. You know, I meditate, I do yoga, I journal, I take prescription medication that I need to help me with certain things. But I also try to diet and exercise and do all the things. And I do shadow work and I do all my breathing, and I do all the things and then now tapping into my physician and my pharmacist that's inside of me. Shit, man, let's just actually heal the things that need to be healed so we can move forward and become the more healed version of us. Healed is a weird word because you never get there. Well, let's heal the parts we can and keep healing.
I love that terminology you just said there with the physician and pharmacist within you, because that's like that touches on another one of my major beliefs is because I'm more of a science guy than anything. And I believe our bodies have the ability to create and control and eliminate anything internally, like it might be cancers, could be growths, could be whatever. Like the chemicals in our body, like you hear about people, you know, in a car accident, like individual small stature picking up a car and get a child out or something like that. Like it's all there all the time. We just don't have the ability consciously to create said chemicals or utilize said chemicals or send them to the right areas at the right times. It's like a giant foreign recipe book that we don't understand yet, hopefully. Yes. But it's similar concept though. So I don't know, like, yeah, getting in tune with your own physician, pharmacist, I'm gonna have to think of it that way, I think, from here on out. It's cool.
Dude, well, you know, I've been battling with gout for this past year. My uric acid levels are double what they should be. Uric acid not only affects gout, but it affects my blood pressure. And those are two of my biggest battles. So I've been banging my head against the wall trying to figure this out. And it's like, maybe I just need to believe that I can fucking fix this. Take the steps towards fixing it. But instead of being so worried that I can't fix it, no, man, you'll figure this out. I've gone many years without gout attacks, and now I keep battling gout attacks. So it's like, what are you doing wrong? What could you be doing differently? Instead of wrong or right, what could you be doing differently? Oh, what I could be doing differently is paying attention to the fact that the pharmacist and the physician are inside here, and with the powers outside that I'm helping manufacture with, straightening up my diet more, exercising more, thinking more clearly, and believing in the message that I can heal myself. And I'm not going to like fall on Bob Marley and be like, I don't need no doctor. Like, no, I'll take the doctor's help. I'll take the shaman's help. I'll take the breathwork practitioner's help. I'll take the Reiki master's help. I'll take my fucking doc, my family physician's help. I'll take all this and I'll put it in a suit to help me, instead of thinking that there's only one way to make the outcome. All the ways combined are going to help me make the outcome.
Right, but you made a point there, whereas if you in your mind have committed to the fact that it can't be fixed, it can't be cured, that's probably going to be the most powerful tool working against you. And if everything else was working right, you may very well not get the results you want because of the self-doubt.
Yes. Dude, I mean, you seem like you believe in the power of the mind the way I do.
Yeah.
You can cure things that are incurable by believing in that shit.
Well,
and, I don't have incurable shit other than growing my leg back. Like, I don't know if that's a thing yet, but they might fucking have it at some point. But, I don't need to because I have prosthetics. But at the end of the day, I don't have to believe that I'm incurable. Gout and high blood pressure aren't that big a deal, man. I can figure out how to work through these things and make it work and be healthier and stronger. Like, I just started talking to Evan Seinfeld from Biohazard, the band. He does this thing called mentorship. And this motherfucker's ripped, jacked, and fucking cut up like a deli sandwich in his 50s. And I'm like, oh, I get to be a guy that's super healthy in my older ages. And I'm just the backwards guy. A lot of guys are like, man, I was in the best shape of my life in my 20s. I was a trash bag most of my early life as far as health goes. But I get to be the guy that dies healthy. I don't have to fucking die because I was unhealthy. I get to be a guy that dies healthy because I lived long enough making health a priority.
Well, I mean, you want to live longer for your wife. You want to live longer for your children. You want to live longer for a multitude of reasons. I recently started working out, built an entire home gym in the basement and started working out again, like on a regular basis. And it's not so much that I really want to be so healthy. It's just I've reached an age where working out makes things hurt less, if that makes any sense. And on top of that, mentally it is clearing. Working out, it releases toxins. It does so much more mentally, emotionally, physically, all of that. And now I'm becoming that guy where it's like, damn, I don't get to work out because I'm traveling this day. And I'm like, well, I get to the hotel, they got to have a gym. Hopefully it's still open, or, things like that. I'm like, wow, I'm becoming that guy. And I never wanted to be that guy, but now I enjoy being that guy. It's weird, man. It's a different perspective. Again, back to perspective.
Dude, so one thing that one of my friends, he helped coin the phrase, change your perspective, change your life, that we really leaned into heavy with the RAD movement for a while. And it'll never not be a part of the RAD movement because change your perspective, change your life. So Gentle J, right? When I was losing my leg, already lost my leg, it was a very dark, scary point in my life. And he would call me out of the blue. And that's beautiful because he's not gentle, but he would call me and he would show me his gentle side. He'd show me his vulnerability. He helped me heal a lot. And we don't talk often, but he would call me during those times. And one day he's like, you're not a shitty guy. You just have a shitty perspective. And it was like, I get it. And I allowed myself to have that shitty perspective because I was either just had lost or, about to lose my leg. So, like I'm allowed to fucking have this shitty perspective. Is that going to serve me? No, but I'm allowed to have it and I'm allowed to hold on to it until it's time to let it go. Because I need to hold on to it. It's okay not to be okay. It's not okay to stay that way. I needed to not be okay for a little bit. And then I needed to come out of that and be like, all right, I'm good. I'm all right.
Well, it's not healthy to ignore any emotions. I mean, it's just you can see that by looking at the previous generations of males in your life. So just, I don't want to say we're superior to them. I'd like to think that, we are progressing in the right direction is kind of, I guess, how I look at it.
Yeah. And that's what it is, man. The men before us weren't bad men. They just might have had shitty perspectives. And I'm just trying to shift my perspective to heal my ancestral, wounds, but more so to heal myself and help my sons and the generations moving forward. Because I do have the beauty of a large platform. So the people that I help with my platform is really pretty because like I get to fucking say things that people wouldn't have access to otherwise without the internet, and maybe they've heard this a million times before, but the one time I say it, because I threw a fuck in it, they might listen. Or because I said it differently than they're used to hearing it, they might listen. Or because I said it at the time that they were meant to accept that download. Because I'm a receiver, but I'm also a transmitter. So like, I'm okay with healing my shit in public if it helps you heal your shit in public or in private. Man, because I have a very hard time with life, a lot more than I'd like to admit. But that's what makes me strong. And that's what helps me grow and progress. And I know that I am in a bit of a pressure makes diamonds phase, right? And I know the diamonds are coming, but I get to look at the other diamonds that the pressure's made in the past. Because I got a lot of fucking diamonds, player. I got a lot of flowers that I need to stop and smell. I got a lot of shiny things that I had the pressure on me to make. So like, I got to stop forgetting all the good that has happened because of all the bad and all the struggles. And remember, this is just a part of it. One of my favorite bands, Bumpin' Uglies, I'm actually wearing one of its t-shirts today. I got to tattoo a couple of dudes in the band recently at one of their shows, and that was dope. And he one of the songs, he goes, "I'm happiest when I'm struggling." And I'm like,
I can relate to that so well, man. I'm like, it's that's when I do my best work when I'm under pressure. I tell people I live stress. That's it's not by choice. It's who I am. And
right.
I don't really love it, but I do it.
It's a choice we made a long time ago that we don't want to be living in as much today, but it's a place we know how to live in. I'm trying to figure out how to, once again, with anger and stress and all these things, learn how to use that pressure properly. Because I do need pressure to perform a lot of the time. Or do I? So did we accept that that's who we are? Or is that really
who we said earlier? Everybody is doing the best that they can with what they have at any particular point in time. My wife has been trying to teach me that for decades, and I'm slowly catching on. I was actually talking to a mutual friend earlier, messaging online. A mutual friend, we were talking about the world the way it is today, or whatever. And I find myself. I was telling him I find myself looking at people that, I hate to use the term ignorant, but let's just say, they're still fearful, they're still angry in certain areas. So therefore, I base that all down to ignorance. They haven't learned that it's not worth fearing yet, or fearing. Yeah, words hard today. But I was saying, it's like I used to just look at people and just find them amusing, and now I look at them sometimes like the same sort of situation, and I look at these people with pity, I guess, to some degree, because they just haven't made it to the next stage yet. So where I used to originally get angry about them, and then I would just find them amusing because they were just, running in circles. And now I kind of feel bad for them because they haven't got to the next level yet. So
Right.
that's kind of like my growth.
Yeah. We do the same thing with ourselves. And you either get so mad at yourself that you have to change, or your pity turns into grace and compassion. And I feel like with others, I'm learning that I don't want to pity people. I just want to have grace and compassion for them. Damn, I feel bad that you're there. Here's some love.
Wow.
And it also is a better reframe and a different perspective, because when you're giving them love during the pity points, it learns you how to give yourself love during the pity points. Because like pity parties are fun for a period, but that's not the solution. That's just a symptom of going through helping that. So when you get past the pity, then you step into grace and compassion. And that's a beautiful thing. I had a dude tell me one time, he's like, "You're an angry guy." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." He goes, "Why don't you try putting some compassion for Saul?" And he blew my mind, because I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean?" And I've been working on figuring that out. And when I find compassion and grace for self, I find compassion and grace for others more openly. Great. And it's a weird road, man. It's a weird ride.
And it's strange that, I know you're an intelligent guy. I like to think I'm a fairly intelligent guy, but sometimes we're not even aware that that's an option until it's presented to us in the right way. It's like, oh, wait, compassion? Oh, I didn't know that was in my toolbox, for God's sakes. It's just, or it's so buried in the back of the toolbox, I forgot it was there. So,
No, you're absolutely right. And I feel like it's a necessary tool, but it's not shoved down our throats the way that shame and comparisоnism and anger are shoved down our throats by the world we live in, the media, and the lies that our brains tell ourselves. When I teach the Rad Academy, powered by the Magical Motherfucker Method, which is just like a human transformation course, right? I teach about the truth and the lie. The truth is what you truly know, where your magic is. And the lie is everything your brain tells you to keep you from getting to the truth. And we live in the lie so heavily. We naturally live in the lie. So when you tell your secrets of the lie, your secret's out, no one can judge you anymore, no one can speculate, and then you get to live in the truth. And then when you live in the truth, then you actually get to live the life you want to live. And if that truth is, my life sucks right now because of X, Y, and Z, but my life is also great because of A, B, and C, cool. This part sucks, but this part's great. All right, let's just fucking focus on the great part. I keep noticing I'm going back and forth a lot in this conversation, because I feel like we do. Like we forget that we don't have to live in the misery. I didn't realize for a long time I have a choice to not live miserable and scared. Now, granted, I go back to that scared misery a lot of the time because that's natural, but I don't have to live there.
Old habits die hard, man. It's muscle memory, or whatever, however you want to put it. Yeah, it's brutal.
It is, and we're brutal on ourselves, and we have to learn how to not.
Oh, man. I gotta tell you, Robbie,
brutal,
I
man,
could talk to you every day like this for hours and hours, man. I absolutely love you, but we've been called for a really long time yet. We're gonna have to cut this short. I want to do it again sometime, man. Maybe we do this once in a while, regular basis. Maybe we got to get those AFAI tattoos going, something like that. I don't know.
100%.
But yeah, how often do you do this human narrative thing, man? Just like put this out there in the airwaves, let people know, so people you might be able to like come check it out and tune in.
Cool. So I have a couple of things that I could offer up to the communities. The human narrative, we do it monthly at our shop, or try to do it monthly. I don't want to overly structure it to where I hate it and it's too much on me, but I love doing it often. So we're trying to do it monthly. We live stream it to the YouTube, the Rad Movement, and we have the Human Narrative Patreon, and that's got extra things that we do. So The other thing I wanted to touch on is the tattoo community support group that I created on Facebook. So it started when I outed Matt Clemmer for his less than desirable coaching methods and lack of ability to stand in his integrity. It started as the TPM support group because a lot of us were in a lot of pain around that. And after a while, it kind of felt stagnant. I was like, why are we going to continue beating this dead horse? Like, I don't want to constantly come in here and be like, Matt Clemmer wronged us, because like he taught me a lot and how to teach me things the wrong way, right? So like, I paid the money, I paid the price, and I learned the lessons, whether they were wrapped up in a pretty picture or a pretty box or not, right? But I realized I can't be
fine.
Right, exactly. I can't be here beating this guy to death. You know, karma comes to us all in our own ways. And I have a lot of compassion for the fact that he did things in a less desirable way, and now he's reaping what happens. And I hope he learns and grows and progresses. And that was part of it for me. I had to learn and grow and progress. So it turned into the tattoo community support group, because we all have pains. We all have those coaches that we wish we learned differently from. We all have those relationships that hurt when they ended or hurt when we were in them. We've all been wrong. We've all been wrong. So let's just talk about that here, and let's make it a place of non-judgment. I love Tattoo Shop Talk. It's a great place to go because you can really get some great information. But it's a very large group, and there's a lot of stuff being thrown around. I don't want people coming in and being like, fuck you. I want people coming in and being like, hey, man, I'm facing this. Y'all got some perspective to drop on me. And so that's one of the things. Like I said, I love TST. I think it's a great group. But like when people come in talking the way that you can in that group and just like sharing mean, just projective emotions. No, that's not what we're doing here. We're healing in here. So if you got to come in here and project, I'm going to be like, hey, man, there's a different way of getting here. And we're doing that differently here. This is not a group like that. This isn't the regular internet world. This is a place where if you want to say, oh, so I got to be a sissy, maybe, I want you to not hurt people intentionally in here. So if there's pain in here, we're trying to heal this pain. We're not trying to say, fuck you, you're a sissy, stop feeling that way. We're trying to get to the roots of it. So that's on social media, on Facebook. That is the first thing on my personal Facebook page. I have it pinned to the top, the Tattoo Community Support Group. It's just a beautiful place for people to go and help heal their shit. And like you can post anonymously if you don't want people to know who you are. And I've had a lot of people post anonymously. And it's kind of cool watching the anonymous posts too, because like now you're in such a safe space that you can post anonymously and really share gross, scary, hard parts of your life and know you're not going to get judgment. And if you do get judgment, me or one of the other admins or moderators either removes your shit or has a talk with you and says, hey, man, check this out. We don't do judgment in here. And if you're like, fuck you, that's what I do. Okay, maybe this isn't the place for you. Thank you. We're going to remove you. And no hard feelings. So like, it's a really cool place for us all to learn and grow and progress. And then the other thing is the Rad Movement YouTube. I've been putting videos on there for years. There's a number of topics on how to navigate things in your life. There's the human narrative stuff. There's a lot of different interviews on there. So the Rad Movement's a great place to go on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We have a bunch of different healing modalities through all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, we will get links to those all in the description below, so people can find you a little bit easier here, reach out to you. You are a fucking beautiful human being, Robbie. I love you. I'm so happy to see you today. I wish I could reach through this camera here and give you a big hug, man. I'm hoping to see you one of these days soon.
Yeah, man, same. I appreciate you. I love your interest in being a better person. I love that you thought about me in talking about that. And I love that you have respect and admiration, because I also have respect and admiration. So I thank you. You were always a place where I could go in a tattoo convention room where I knew I was just going to be able to say, hey man, how's your weekend? And like, we could talk about it for real. And, have you be like, man, sales are shit. Cool. Thanks. Me too. Or Or, it's been a great room. Yeah, me too. Or, if I'm struggling, we could just talk. And, the kind, loving conversations are always a safe, healthy place for me to be like, all right, that's some good for the positive energy bank. Let's move forward. So, love and appreciation reciprocated. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you for having me on.
All right, man. I hope to do it again soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Love you, brother.
You too, brother. I love you, man.
All right, peace.